If you want an AI agent that acts like a specialized employee instead of just a general worker, I've got a treat for you today. I asked my friend Aniket to walk me through the big opportunity with Claude skills right now. And I'm talking, what are they, how to set them up, and what I should actually be using them for. So Aniket, if someone watches this video till the end today, what can they learn?
They're going to learn how to go from no knowledge of Claude Code to using specialized skills for their business that can make them money right now.
Amazing. So kicking it off, I think we should probably jump into exactly what Claude skills are. So as like someone that's a total beginner, not technical at all, has an idea of what Claude is and what Claude Code is, what exactly are Claude skills, and what's the main differentiator between using them and not using them?
Sure. So we should step back. We have large language models. So these are OpenAI and Anthropic are these labs making the large language models like Opus, Sonnet, GPT. Then each of these labs have created harnesses, which are coding agents like Codex and Claude Code. So these allow you to use the large language models to do things agentically. And what people are primarily using Claude Code for is writing code. However, if you're not technical or you know nothing about code, you can get first very far with Claude Code to do technical things like programming just by talking in natural language. Like, I want to scrape this website. You don't need to know anything about code. Claude Code can do that for you with you just giving a natural language English instruction. But what Claude skills are, let's say, sets of extensions to Claude Code, which in certain use cases allow Claude Code to complete certain tasks according to pre-specified instructions. So when you start up a ChatGPT session, right? ChatGPT has a notion of memory, but there's usually not like some big list of instructions that it's already following. With Claude Code, you can have something like an SEO writing skill, or a YouTube script writing skill, or a Instagram events research writing skill. And you can both make these yourself and buy them from people, or get them. Many are just publicly freely available. Add them to your Claude Code instance. And now when you say, I want to write a YouTube script, Claude Code is going to be able to take you through a guided process that's optimized for writing a YouTube script.
That makes sense. And I think what I instantly think about is, like, it kind of makes like an employee, right? Like, it's like a specialized employee. And I guess my question is, I hear, being in the content space, we talk about a lot of skills like SEO writing skill, or a YouTube scraping skill, or YouTube drafting skill, but like real businesses that I'm sure you deal with in your consultancy, right? Like, they don't need to scrape YouTube videos or write YouTube scripts, right? Like, they need an employee that's like a customer service rep that has knowledge of their company and, needs to respond to certain inquiries, or, do a specific workflow based off of an input, right? Is that sort of a way that we can think about skills as well?
I would say that that's a way in which skills can be used. And most of the skills that you see available for free, which, like, I will show you guys, do not fulfill that capability. But if you wanted to create a skill, or rather what I would say a plugin, which is a set of skills that are all like composed together, if you wanted to create a plugin to be able to have that in your business, that's something that is totally possible to do. And in fact, like, I had a sort of cold lead reach out to me who's interested in having me do exactly that for his cold email agency, like automating away a big part of his business.
So do you think building Claude skills, I mean, you kind of just said it, but building Claude skills could be like a business in itself, like an agency in itself?
I mean, I'm planning on pivoting my sort of AI consulting business to really doing this, because right before this call, I was recording a video why you shouldn't learn N8N in 2026. And I really think that these agentic coding tools have gotten so good that if you're not technical, you can make way better use out of them than with like the low code sort of drag and drop tools. And so, yeah, I think a business can be made out of just creating specialized Claude skills for a business, but then also like giving away, let's say, a free Claude skill and using that as a lead magnet to a higher ticket offer, that kind of thing.
Mentioning N8N brings up another question that I have, which is, okay, so for the last year or so, right, we've kind of been told that like you should start using AI in your business, like AI automation agencies. And when you really boil it down, most of these AI automation agencies are just like N8N workflows, or like that's the whole like sort of industry that's been built around this like automate everything with AI. And I think the big problem with that is like learning N8N is like a massive skill in itself, right? And takes a really long time. There's tons of things that can break. Some people are building things that should just be apps, but they're building like N8N workflows. And it's like, that's actually kind of complicating, right? Like I remember there was a time where people are like, you don't need a backend for your app anymore. The backend of your app should just be an N8N workflow. And it's like, well, wait a second. It feels like we're going backwards now, right? So is learning how to do Claude skills, or basically skipping the Claude skills, like someone that's never learned N8N, can they just sort of leapfrog over something like N8N and go straight to Claude skills? Is that sort of what you'd recommend now?
I wouldn't even call it leapfrogging. Like somebody who has been using N8N for 3 years and is like N8N super expert giga wizard has absolutely zero advantage over somebody who has never used N8N as using Claude Code. Both of these people, I think by the end of this demo, are going to be able to find Claude skills that are just freely available, install them, and use them productively for their business today.
Amazing. Well, I'm excited now. Can we jump into it and walk through exactly how someone can actually set up Claude skills then?
Yeah, sure. All right. So right here, I'm at the Claude Code documentation. Probably a prerequisite here is install Claude Code. And so these are the instructions here. You'll need to have the Claude $20 per month subscription, and that should be enough for most people. I'm on the $200 a month, but I'm like coding like crazy all the time. And so here's what the interface looks like for Claude Code. Can you see my terminal right now?
Yep.
Okay, so the first thing to know is that you're going to be working in an interface that looks like this. It is a terminal. And so this might be an unfamiliar interface in which to work in for many people, but it's less complicated than you think. There are certain things that make your life easier, but this is what Claude Code looks like. And so I already have lots of skills available. And let me show you what some of those are. Here, this command \skills will show you the available skills that I have. And so I have all sorts of skills. This is a skill that I made myself and is just available to me. And then these are a whole lot of other skills that I have installed from other sources. And some of these skills are one-off skills, whereas others of these skills are parts of plugins, meaning that they are sort of composite skills that package in many different functionalities needed for some business use case, for example. And so if you want to use a skill, you can either explicitly specify, hey, use this skill, or if you just talk in natural language, oftentimes Claude Code can infer which skill you want to use. So let me perhaps show a demo, and then I can circle back to how do you like install a skill, where do you find skills, etc. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, so one other tip I have is I use this thing. It's a Whisper Flow. It's a voice dictation software, and I really like it for being able to communicate with the terminal a lot more quickly. And so that's what I'm going to do now. Can you show me what sources I have available for newsletter event scraping? All right, so let me circle back. I have created a plugin which I call local media tools. And so what it is oriented towards is people who are creating local newsletters. So just for context, here on my website, I've created this directory of 795 local newsletters. And so these are newsletters in a particular area, which, are giving events and other information in the local population. And so these newsletters make money primarily by selling ad spots, and they can make a pretty good amount of money. So like I analyzed this local newsletter in Annapolis, Maryland, did like a really detailed analysis of its monetization strategies, its content, etc. And a big part of what it talks about is events, right? News and events. And so like if we're thinking, okay, what would I ideally want to have? What people typically do is they go through hundreds of different sources and then they have to manually compile these events. I've developed a Claude Code plugin which allows you to scrape events from Instagram and Facebook and any web page and have it compiled right here. And this is available for free. Like you want to use this today, you can go and use this for your business. But this is an example of like a sort of specialized plugin that's been made for one business. And so for one type of business. And so I go back here and I can see that I have these Instagram profiles available to scrape from: Wayside Cider, Basilica, whatever, and then this web aggregator, the Great Northern Catskills. So maybe just actively, let's do this. Let's add a source, a new like web source, and then we'll see how the scraping works for that source. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right. So let's look up just Catskills events. So I got that one. Let's see. We could do this one. This one. All right. So let's just pick one of these events in the Catskills. Looks like it's only got one new event. Let's find one with like more info. Yeah, this looks good. Add this as a source. Okay. And so right here, it is suggesting the skill that should be used. And so this is an add source skill, but you don't have to explicitly specify it. It is just going to be able to infer that based on your natural language and the context that this is the skill that you should be using. And so you see, without me explicitly specifying it, it knew that like this is what needs to be done. Now it's going through a set of steps to like do discovery on this source and like seeing what it finds. Yeah, so this like process, sometimes there are bugs which occur. And so I'm actively developing, let's see, this uses a JavaScript calendar widget. All right, let's see, try 3. All right, so now it's controlling my browser and seeing if it can find things that way. The original method it used to try to find stuff didn't work. Okay. And let's see if it's able to find events now on that page. All right, it says tool executed successfully. It got some HTML content. And we go on. Okay, it seems to have found some pin board that it uses for grabbing the events. So it's seeing if it can go there alternatively. So right now, what this tool has done is that the original method that was used to try to scrape did not work. And so I have available as a backup the ability for it to actually control my browser and try to find things that way. So that's what it's trying to do. And let's let that like keep going and doing its thing. And let me show you another feature of this plugin. So let's look up Catskills events Instagram. And I think I've added a lot of these already. Let's see, this one. So yeah, this thing has some events information as well. They look to be older events. I'm not seeing a lot of events on there. Okay. And it's doing its thing. So it's running right now. While it's running, let's go back to skills in general. So if you want to find skills, the best place that I would recommend looking is Anthropic skills. So this is like a public repository that Anthropic has made of some sets of skills that demonstrate what's possible with skills. So you can just go here github.com/anthropic/skills. And we see like a bunch of default skills that they have made available. Now, one skill that I really like is this one. It's called front-end design. And one thing which, if you use Replit or some other low-code tool, you may have noticed, is that all the websites look the same and they sort of tend towards certain aesthetics all the time. And so this front-end design skill allows you to create a website which goes away from just, looking the same like every single other Replit or V0 or A0 website. But
I think it says don't use purple down there, right? Specific instructions.
Yeah, it says don't use purple. And this one's actually also a good example because it sort of gives you an understanding of what a skill fundamentally is. Like if you look here on the front end design folder, the whole skill is just this like license file, which is just an Apache or MIT license, and then just a markdown file. So it's literally just like a set of instructions in a particular format for Claude Code to invoke in its context at a certain point in time. So when you're doing some front-end web development task, you can either explicitly say, use this skill, or most of the time it will know to invoke that because you have this sort of loaded into your memory as a skill that you wanted to use. And so maybe simultaneously, since like web design is something that people could imagine doing, let me show you how this is working. Let me see. Are you able to grab events from Talkify though? So let's do web dev example. I want you to use the front end web dev skill to help me make a website. All right, so it invoked this front end design skill, and now let's see how it works. All right, so we see here, I can make this bigger. It's asking me a set of questions in terms of what is a site for, a portfolio, a landing page, an e-commerce app, what will be on it, who is it for, vibe, tech. All right. I want you to make a website for Nick Conley. I want you to say that he is the greatest AI YouTuber in the world. I want you to find a picture of him on the internet that you can use and make prominent on the site. Just use Firecrawl MCP to find some information about him. By the way, I think his name is Nick without a K.
There we go. I was going to say, you probably want to take the K out before you tell it to go scrape.
Yeah. And for an aesthetic direction, let's do like retro 1990s Space Jam, old school website style.
I like it.
And we can do it in plain HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. All right. And meanwhile here, so we see I was able to use this skill to find a bunch of events. So here, this is like something that can generally happen, is that in this particular skill, which is of my own development, is attempting to create a sort of interface in which non-technical people can scrape from any source. And so sometimes I'm still working out the details. And so there are edge cases like this website, which is embedding an iframe, which I hadn't accounted for yet in the development of the skill. But I'm actually going to show you how I'll modify the skill to be able to deal with that in the future. But what we can see here is that fundamentally, though, I was able to use the skill to find a bunch of events. And I'm going to say, yes, add it as the source. And so then I'm going to be able to generate a newsletter with the same skill, which now includes these events. All right. Meanwhile, over here, we're making okay, look at that. Excellent. I found Nick Conley. He's got 16K subscribers on YouTube, 34K on Instagram, creates AI content. I also found his profile picture. Now let me create an absolutely glorious Space Jam style website. This is going to be chaotic, neon, and beautiful. All right. So so here we got this, and this actually worked. I forgot. It actually worked better than I expected. So the way that I sort of structured this skill is for each source, it should create some set of notes on how to scrape that source. And so this is a sort of nice example of how scraping needed to be done in the past versus how it can be done today. In the past, you had to study the document object model of a website. So like I would spend all sorts of time like going into this interface and then being like, okay, I want to grab that thing and it's inside this P with the dir equals auto. So now I have to write some like Python script to target this specifically. But now with agents, like you don't need to be that technical in order to scrape, because the tools are so smart that they can figure out that stuff that I used to have to do by themselves. And so that's kind of what it has done now. And now I'm going to ask it, I'm going to use this skill, the research skill. I'm going to say, just scrape the new source, please. All right. So it's creating a style sheet. So CSS is how stuff gets formatted. So it's creating a Nick Conley, the greatest AI YouTuber style sheet. And while these two are going, let's rewind a bit, let it do its thing, and go back to, okay, how do you install and find new skills? So one feature of skills is the concept of a marketplace, a skill marketplace. And so let's see over here. So if you want to share skills with other people, you need to create a plugin and then add it to a marketplace. Now, for all of you who are, let's say, a little less technical and just looking to use skills, you don't need to know how to create a marketplace. You just need to know how to access it. And so if you go here, for example, to this tool, which I have made, which is doing the event scraping, I have instructions right here. And basically what you would do is just do plugin marketplace add Aniket YT / local media tools, which is the name of this GitHub repository. So that's step one, is that for any like set of skills, which is what a plugin is, a Claude Code plugin for scraping local events from Instagram. It has many different skills available. Here, I sort of describe some of the skills that exist: newsletter event setup, research, write, which I'll show you later, and adding sources. Like obviously, you wouldn't just want those skills individually, and so I've packaged them together in a plugin. In order to make a plugin discoverable, it has to be part of a marketplace, and it's my responsibility as the plugin developer to make sure it's properly formatted for that purpose. But once I've done that, for you as the user, all you have to do is this and then that command. And so I'm going to find a new plugin and figure out how to use it live after I circle back and see how the demo is going. Okay, it looks like this has been made. And so I'm going to open this up. And let's see, open with Chrome. All right.
Look at that. Wow. I got to say, that's probably the best vibe-coded website I have seen in a long time.
It's pretty sick, huh?
Yeah, like, it is. Wow. I actually, don't know how you could make that with I'm sure you could make it with a Replit or, Lovable. It would just take 5 hours of prompting.
I like that it got the browser too, like the cursor, right? It's
yeah,
like
this rocket. That's sick. Holy. And so this was the design skill, right?
Yeah, so this was me applying the design skill, saying, hey, just make me a basic HTML website and look up this guy, Nick Conley, and learn a little bit about him, get his profile picture.
I might need to I might need to swap out my personal website for this thing. And it even has like the latest videos pulled in there.
Yeah, let's see if those work. Yeah, they work.
Literally. Wow. That is sick.
Now let's go back to what we were doing over here. So here we see that this tool that I was using, so it did two cool things, okay? One is that I've designed it to grab all these events. So it grabbed 98 events, but it also seemed to do some like duplicate detection. And so it found two duplicates that shouldn't have been in there. So now let's have it write a newsletter edition. Yeah, generate a newsletter. And let's actually do something fun. Could you actually, after you generate the newsletter, use the sort of CSS theme of this crazy website I just made to also have the like HTML version of the newsletter? Okay, do that. Okay, so now I want to show you guys how do you find these sets of skills. What sort of things should you look out for? Like, what would I warn you about in this? So the first thing that I will say is that, like, there is this website which people are starting to make to compile all skills together. So, like, this could be a good place to start. But I honestly think that the best skill that maybe you guys should be aware of are the skills to make skills, because these skills are very helpful for helping you create sort of types of things that you want done in your business all the time in a particular way. And it's easier than you think to make a skill that's particular for your business. So, in fact, let me create a skill live for, I mean, Nick, if you got ideas, but like the thing I have in mind, well, actually, let's take a look at like some of the existing skills that are on here. Hook development. So that's okay. That's not like a YouTube hook. That's a more complex Claude Code concept that I don't want to talk about right now. But let's see. Brand. Okay, so these are all the like usual Anthropic skills. Website maintainer, Tailwind design system. A lot of these in here are for web design. Well, that could be interesting. Guidelines for UI, text and copy, and WooCommerce. So if you are a WordPress developer, then like some of these WooCommerce ones could be useful. Another type of skill that you'll often see are like code review skills. So it's like, imagine you are a senior developer and like check for these particular things, see how it's doing. But let's just do some search across all the skills. Let me see. I hate this interface. It makes it really confusing. This is for fetching transcripts from YouTube for summarization and analysis. That could be a good one. Let's take a look at that. So, all right, let's figure out how do I install this, and then how do I use it to summarize YouTube videos. And this could be useful, obviously, to be able to read or consume content a lot more quickly in the way that's important for you, or to help you, like, let's say, spin content. So maybe you have your own video. Now you want to create LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever content. You could do that with this skill. So let's figure out how to install it. I go, all right, so here it is. Let's see. Yeah, so this guy has not done a great job telling you exactly how to install this set of skills. So let me just do this. How do I install the skills in this GitHub repo?
That's pretty cool.
And let's go back here and take a look at the newsletter, which apparently has been made. Let's see.
Look at that. That is sick.
Yeah. Let's see if I can even click on it. Does it have the links? No, it didn't do it. Let's do that. Can you make the HTML so that I can like click on the links and go to the original page? All right. So this is like the sort of unhappy path in terms of someone hasn't really documented well, how do I install this skill? Let's try to find like a better documented thing. Skills for YouTube Claude. All right, so let's try this. I'm going to try adding this. So we go like this. Plugin. So here I can see the different, okay. So here I can see the different marketplaces I have available, okay?
Wow.
So these are like marketplaces of plugins that I've already added. So this is my own marketplace. And then this is like the Claude plugins official marketplace. And we can see that there's like all sorts of different plugins where a plugin is a set of skill, like this one here, like that I bet this would be cool for a lot of people. It would allow people to use their own, like interact with Notion themselves. And this Linear is a popular project management tool. So once you have the marketplace loaded, there are all sorts of plugins, which are sets of skills, which are available to you. But what we're going to try to do is add a new marketplace. So let me see if I'm able to do that. Go back, add marketplace. Let's see how this works. Okay, so it worked. And now I see that there are 27 plugins in this marketplace. So competitive ads extractor. I have no idea what that is, but like I bet that could be useful for people. Extract and analyze competitors' ads from ad libraries. Okay, let's just see what happens. So then after I've installed it, I have to restart Claude Code to load it. So let's try that. Yeah, and so now this thing is available. Now I'm gonna go back over here to like understand what exactly this thing is. Competitive ads extractor. Scrapes ads from Facebook ad library, LinkedIn, captures screenshot.
That could be massively valuable. I mean, you could even turn this into like a product where you say, who are your competitors? We're going to go scrape all of the ads for you and then deliver them to you. And you could even do it like weekly.
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, absolutely. Like probably the way in which I would do that is to like make your own skill, which references this skill. And then just like you can just run it whenever you want. Let's I don't know if this is going to work. Like sometimes, so that's part of the like sort of catch with this. People are selling Claude skills now. And a question is, should you buy them? I would say that unless this person already has receipts, like they've created something useful publicly, then don't go off buying their skills. Like try to go off of like, because it's easy to create, you know, like a junk website, like a sort of junk skill, a junk end-to-end workflow that doesn't really deliver value. It just looks pretty. So if it's not actually been battle tested, there aren't people using this free skill, then I wouldn't go off paying that person for a skill. So we're going to find out live if this skill works. So I want to try using the like competitive ads extractor skill. Could you try using it on, I don't know, some business, let's say based in the Chicago area?
This will be interesting.
Let me try something. We'll see if it works. If not, oh well.
Truth.
All right. Interesting. Struggling with this one. Unfortunately, was not able to get it done in the few minutes. Not sure why it's not being discovered. But like there are kinks with this kind of thing. This is one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's just like part of figuring it out, right? Like if everything went as according to plan, then it wouldn't be a real demo.
Yeah. Let's just try this real fast. All right. Well, it looks like this thing is probably broken. So this is, you know, part of the game that if people just put out these free skills out there and don't give you good instructions on how to use them, sometimes you will encounter this sort of thing. So the ones that come from Anthropic, I'll say, are very good. I recommend them, like this set of skills. These will all work, are very useful, and a lot of these can be immediately put to use in your business. especially this one, Skill Creator, which I didn't have time to show you how to use, but which I highly recommend. Oh, looks like it figured out how to do it.
Now it did.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, where can people find you at?
You can find me on YouTube. I've got a channel here.
I'll make this a collab video, so your channel will be linked to it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, terrific. On YouTube, and then I've got a website and newsletter here, contentquant.io, where you can see some articles, and I post some stuff on Twitter as well.
Yep, and I'll leave the link to your Twitter in the description as well.
Awesome. Hey, appreciate it.
Sweet. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, for sure.
See you later.
See ya.